Hey everyone, I'm going to do a quick demo of loading a shotgun from various pump action shotgun from various positions, specifically left or right-handed. I'm also going to use a side saddle and a separate bag. As I'm loading this up, I have live ammo on the side of the gun and live ammo inside the gun, but these blue guys are snap caps. So I have 5 of them. I'm going to put them in a side saddle. Just because I haven't shown it before, this is a cheap side saddle, Velcro side saddle I got off. I don't even remember the name of this. People have asked me where I can find them. I'm not interested in putting a link or anything to that. However, get something like this. You don't have to pay a lot of money for it. They're essentially disposable. And take some RTV sealant. I don't know if you can see in there. Yeah, little red stuff. And just goop a little RTV sealant in there, and just take your finger and squish it in. That will give them a little more stick inside the side saddle. So, having said that, let's begin. I'll talk about side saddle loading and orientation and stuff in a sec, but right now I'm putting this with brass up. I'm going to show a little bit of dry fire, and whenever you're doing that, it's important to make sure live ammo is not anywhere near your firearm. This is live ammo. This is buckshot. This is number 4 buck, and this is some good stuff, but not going to have that near me. First I'm going to show unloading the shotgun. This is a Mossberg Shockwave, 590 Shockwave. I'm going to show unloading it and showing clear, and then we're going to get to the rest of this. So to unload, that's my thumb safety. It's a modified safety. Safety is on, that's off. You can see a little red dot right here. But anyway, forward on this particular model is off, on is to the rear. So that is the safe position. I'm still not going to touch the trigger. So to unload the gun, first side saddle with live ammo comes off. And that's going to go right there. We're going to put dummy ammo on. Now, I have 5 rounds in the tube. I have nothing in the chamber. So, verify chamber's empty. Open with the action release. Look down. Again, safe direction all the time. Making sure that I have a safe direction. And nothing in the chamber. Visually checking. See the chamber close on an empty chamber. Now, there's an action bar on the side of the side saddle. The opposite side of the ejection port on the Mossberg. Inside right here, push that in, and the shell will come in. There we go. Come out of the tube. You don't have to cycle it. So I have an empty chamber, and taking my, this is double aught buck. I think it's Winchester. Nope, actually this is different. This is a Federal coming out of the tube. These guys are Winchester. Those are Federal. Anyway, empty tube. I can see the follower. Empty chamber, confirm, confirm, close, we're safe. Okay. So, to load the gun, the easiest way is to take ammo and just put it here into the tube. You can do as many of these as can fit, and then from here, I only put 2 in. From here, to rack the gun, don't pull the trigger. A lot of people say to pull the trigger to unlock the chamber. Don't do that. This is administrative. There's no reason to pull the trigger. You have a button dedicated to that. Do that. Your shell, it was upside down so you couldn't see it. Your shell will drop from the tube into this area in here. If your gun is sideways like so, it may fall out of the gun. Just listen for it, keep an eye for it, whatever. And forward. Now, your forend is locked forward. Can't be released without using the action release or firing the gun. So, because I know this is empty, yep, confirmed, I'm going to dry fire. Aim in a safe direction. This is in the back of my car. Safe direction. Hey, I have an optic, look at that. Safety off, fire. Now that the gun has fired, you may now, without touching the action release, cycle the bolt or the forend backward. that will eject the spent casing. A new one has gone onto the lifter, right in there, and then as you come forward, you're going to see it come into the action. So now you're loaded up with the next one. If you're not going to shoot again, put the safety back on. Okay, I'm going to put this guy back in. Now, the trick about shotguns is they will run dry. There's no indicator that it's gone dry except for an empty chamber and then a click on an empty chamber. So, unlike a handgun where the slide locks back, or a AR where the bolt locks back, stuff like that, you don't have that on a shotgun, on a pump action shotgun. So, safety off, I'm doing my course of fire, I'm shooting, one comes out, another's loaded up, shoot, now another one's going to come out. Now, right now the carrier doesn't have anything on it. I'm going to think that it's time to keep going. Click, nothing happens. So now what I can do is from here, I have two choices. I can either, keeping the bolt closed, I can flip the gun around and I can load into the tube and pump the gun. Now I'm ready to go again. And I also put the safety back on just right after I did that. So you can do that choice. The time for that would be if there's not an emergent situation, if no one's shooting back at you or whatever, you're just administratively getting this together, or you have significant cover and you don't have to do that. The benefit is you can load up multiple rounds. I have 2 in here right now, so now there's 1 in the chamber because I pumped it, and 1 more in the tube. I can just keep going into the tube and I'm good to go. But let's pretend that isn't the case. Let's pretend you shoot. I'm going to put these back and start reloading the side saddle. Give me 1 second. By the way, you can see that I'm doing this with a sling on. The reason for that is slings are very convenient because you can have the shotgun, and if there's a problem or you need to do something else with your hands, you can just put the gun down. Shotguns are kind of heavy. But they can also get in the way, so practice the way you would fight. We'll get more into that in a second. Anyway, verify I'm empty, pull the trigger, click, nothing happens. Now, there's an emergency going on, and I need to respond as quickly as possible. So the best way to do that from here is, my safety's off, gun is click, nothing has happened. Pull the bolt to the back. There's nothing in here, so the gun's totally empty. I'm going to take a shell. There's 2 ways you can do this. If you're right-handed, reach over the top, so side saddle's on the left-hand side of the gun. Take it with your left hand, reach over the top, drop it in here. Now I can shoot from here, one-handed. It's gross. You aren't going to have great target acquisition or anything like that, but it will work. It's effective, and you can be pretty quick with it. The other way to do this is click, nothing happens. Pull back, grab your shell. Orientation is going to matter here. I have to flip it because of the way shells are oriented on my side saddle, and I drop it from the bottom. I'm less practiced in this. And then from here, your hand's already oriented like this, push forward. So you take a little more work getting to the other side, and for me, with the way that I orient my shells, I have to also flip it in my hand. You can set yourself up for success. Drop it in, pull the forend forward. So from here, it's a very simple hand motion, and then you're ready to go as well. There we go. I wasn't all the way forward. That was a short stroke. Anyway, now, if you don't want to, I'm going to show from the other side. From here, if you don't want to orient your shells upward and then flip them to go under, you can take your shell and you can orient it upside down. Just go from the bottom. Actually, that's got to be forward. Pull from the bottom, go straight in like this. And you can also kind of hot load like this. Like there's a lull in a gunfight or whatever, people always say that, and you can just load in from the bottom. So that's a possibility as well. The benefit of loading, of having your shells loaded upside down, so brass facing downward, is when you invert the gun like so, and you're loading directly into the loading port on the bottom of this particular gun. Same as a Remington 870, stuff like that. Your shells just come up and in. It's very simple. From here, if they're loaded brass facing up, same deal. You have to flip the shell, and it's a more complex motion. Now, mosquito, geez. The reason that I personally choose to load my shells just all the way up, some people alternate them, whatever, I choose to have them all the way up, twofold. Number one, my sling is getting spun around. Ah, mosquito. Come on, dude. Anyway, is twofold. And the less important reason I'll say first, they tend to fall out, especially under recoil, and especially with the 590 Shockwave, which moves a lot. You don't have a solid stock or anything to hold it against, so you're relying solely on your grip, and in here you can see the sling. So recoil is gnarly with this, especially if you're shooting really hot loads or slugs or stuff like that. The second reason is pretty simple. I prefer, if I have them on here, it's an emergency. For me, I want to see, okay, up and in. I'm just more practiced going over the top and then pulling forward. So for me, if I'm loading in an emergency, I want the way that I am best at all the time. I don't want to think about it or have them, you know, alternating or whatever. Some people will do up in the front, down in the back, whatever, because if you're going backward from the forend here, you know, you're going to hit the front one first. So, you know, that's your own choice. I'm going to show quickly left hand. From here, the side saddle doesn't help you as much if you're left-handed. So you would still pull the bolt open. You can go over the top and in and then forward, or let's get that out of there. You can have it set up from here, from the left, to go load like this under and still maintaining trigger control and everything, or down and then straight in. Side saddle is not that big of a benefit left-handed. We'll get into something else that can help in a bit, but side saddle doesn't help as much left-handed just because you have to go further than your loading area to get to the shells that are on your gun. What you can do is you can have one of those speed loaders on the side, so you're right there, you just grab one and put it in. If you have room with all your action and everything doing its thing. Or here's the next trick of the trade. You can have a bag. This is a satchel, and this is dedicated to shotgun stuff. I have shells in here. I have slugs in dedicated pockets. I have, let's see what I have in here. This is number one buck. Ear Pro. Right here is slugs, 1 ounce slugs, in this little pocket over here. I got this for super cheap as well. You can throw a notebook. You can have, I had gloves in here for a first aid kit, but I moved them. But yeah, you can have just a whole bunch of stuff in here. These are cheap and easy to have. I also have another pocket with other ammo. There's stuff all over the place, more slugs, because I went to a class and I brought this with me. Anyway, let me make sure I'm not loading anything that's not supposed to be loaded. From a bag on your off side, so if I'm left-handed, I reach down to the bag, grab whatever I need. I have to make sure the unless I have a caddy or something set up in here, I have to make sure the orientation is correct in my hands, just using feeling or my eyes, whatever. And then I just drop it in and go in. So it's actually pretty quick. On the opposite side, so on the right hand side, what 90-ish% of the people are going to be doing, it looks like so. What I would probably do is I'd probably put the shotgun on first, but anyway, just because that's the last thing I want to lose. On the opposite side, go into your bag, so it's not as convenient as the side saddle, but you can go into your bag, grab whatever you need to grab, and put it in like so. Anyway guys, I hope this has been an informative video. Loading a shotgun, pump action shotgun, is a pretty complicated task, and you have to be pretty good at it for a pump action, because this gun, for example, and many of the guns you're going to find, have a capacity of 5 rounds, or 6 rounds, or 7 rounds. This one is 5. So every time you shoot, if you have a chance, put one in the tube. So what that's going to look like is, I've done a bit of shooting. Now I'm like, oh man, my tube is a little empty. Let me throw a couple in here just until it stops, until it's totally full. And that's it. That's all I got. So there we go. Stay safe, everyone. Peace out. I got to run before the cops get here. I don't know if you can hear that in the background. We have a police station and fire station like 4 or 5 blocks away. Anyway, stay safe, do your part, train with what you carry, and understand the placement of guns in your system, of specific firearms in your system. About the size of the yard that you can see behind me, which is not large, is about the max extent that I would want to have the shotgun utilized for. Anything more than that is going to be a little too much just for what I'm doing. Anything more than that, I would go for a rifle or a handgun. And handgun tops out for me personally under stress around like 100 yards, where I can be effective as opposed to just making sound and getting people to cover. So, you know, again, under stress, yeah, you can pull off a 150-yard shot if you're calm and, you know, it's a flat range and no one's shooting back and whatever. But be realistic with what your actual ability is. Also, I know I've brought this up in a couple of videos. I have a red dot on my gun. That, there you go. You saw it for a second. There it is. This is a Holosun 507C X2 that has just the circle on it, and it's pretty good for what it is. The gun is really mobile for a shotgun, but again, even a small carbine is lighter than this when it's fully loaded. Anyway guys, stay safe. I'll see you on the other side. Oh yeah, happy Halloween to all you guys. See ya. Last bit before I head out of here, just want to show you guys how I set up my bag. Let's get the gun out of here. Okay, so I went over this briefly in the video, in the body of the video, but this is just a standard canvas bag. The inside is empty with the exception there's a separate pocket where I have extra shells, extra slugs in here, because if you need something specialty, it's going to be a slug. I wouldn't pack birdshot in here at all. It's just a waste of weight and space. But I have one caddy of buckshot. This is number, I believe, number 4 buck, like I said, loaded up in the body of the bag. So my gun has 5 in the tube, 5 on the side caddy, nothing in the chamber. I will load it if I need to, you know, if I'm going to use the gun. But right now I don't want to leave it in the safe fully loaded, as it's not my primary go-to right now. It is a secondary weapon, as I explained in another video that I will link at the end of this. And again, main body, another box of 25 shells of double aught buck. That's it. I have 2 or 3 other loaded caddies in the safe with the gun that I will grab if I need to, you know, if I'm grabbing the gun for other stuff, and I'll drop them into this bag. But it's somewhat heavy on its own already, because shotgun ammo is super heavy. So, loaded up in the gun, like I said, 1, 5 in the gun, safety on, empty chamber. That's it. And that's enough. If you find yourself having to use more than this, or even busted into that box of 25, you are doing something wrong. You need to be moving and getting away from a bad situation, or going to another firearm, honestly, because any sustained gunfight with a shotgun is punishing on the user. Obviously, if it hits anything or any soft target, it will do a ton of damage. But if you are laying down fire, you're going to be beaten up. Your head's going to be ringing. It's going to be nasty. Also, it's a good idea. It's with my rifle right now, but have hearing protection with your bag. Active Ear Pro, even like lawnmower cheap, Home Depot earmuffs or something. If you don't have the money for Active Ear Pro, drop it in your, or like electronic ear pro, drop it in your bag. Just have it ready with the gun, so you have your gun in a, good enough for an immediate situation, and then a bag as support that you can just throw over your shoulder, and you've got everything else you need. Like I said, medical kit is great. If you're going to a class, notebook, pen, stuff like that, and maybe a hat, maybe a handkerchief, roll gauze, that would be in your med kit probably. A tourniquet is a great thing to have in here, and like gloves, neoprene or latex gloves or something. Anyway, guys, again, stay safe. See ya. I have a similar setup for my rifle, by the way. I'll go over that some other time.